Lights out. Get the vapor. Lights out. Get the vapor.
He has a $1,000 gain for the excess distribution, so that's going to go on the right, the 8949, the Schedule D, long-term, short-term, depends on his holding period in the partnership. And remember, he said your first hurdle to being able to deduct the loss during your schedule A page 2 is you
Well, they say you are ready. Well, they say you are set. So you got yourself a credit card for an LCD set. And I know you ain't sorry. I know you work really hard. I know you earned your impression. The big house and the big yard. Early mornings and late nights. Lunch with the boss and evenings flooded with wine. And I know you ain't sorry. You can take it from here. Get your own wine day. Enjoy yourself for once. I'm so above this, it feels so juvenile. Honestly, tired of the bullshit. And I don't know what to do, I don't even know where to start. I need to talk to you. This feels like high school, but don't sense of identity, false reality. I wanna move past the drama, 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 false reality. I'm above and beyond. I just can't help intimidating, 'cause I come across as flawless. Let me take your hand, help you see through it all. I just want you to know, I see the future, and they are for you, the immaturity, false reality. Sense of identity, false reality. I wanna move past the drama, 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 false reality.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Quarantine Daze. This is our 6th episode, and we're super happy to have with us Jessica Eve to play some nice folky tunes. And then also our friend Siesa Shuman is going to share some poetry later. And throughout, we're going to be doing some jibber jabber with both of them. So if you have any comments or questions during either of their sets, please go ahead and just post those on whatever platform you're using. And we'll try to have either of our artists respond. We'll probably ask some questions too, get the conversation going a bit. And then later on, we're going to do a gang discussion. Gang vocal, yeah. Something like that. We could do some chant.
Some claps.
Some group chants. So yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you want to check out waste-division.org, that would be cool. That's our website that we run, posting some art content from around here. And also, if you would like to donate to today's show, we're going to suggest like $5 to $10 if you've got it. It's hard time, so if you don't, no big deal. You can find that information in our description. So without further ado, Jess, thanks y'all.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to start off with an original song that I wrote traveling through Wyoming and Utah and ended up finishing it in California. So it's got a lot of states involved in one song here. It's called Driver's Seat. Fears they keep coming, miles I keep running, years are sneaking up on me. Plans I keep making, money's for the taking, don't you give up on me. Wyoming winds are blowing, setting me free. While I'm driving through Laramie, hitchhikers slumming out in this heat. While I'm riding high in the driver's seat, in the driver's seat, the driver's seat. Band it keeps playing, the strings have started fraying, name is on the marquee. My faith has started shaking, mama keeps praying, daddy's got his eye on me. My family is back home in Billings. While I'm driving through Cali, hitchhikers thumbing out in this heat. While I'm riding high in the driver's seat, in the driver's seat, the driver's seat. Well, I'm just thinking out loud. Where am I going now? My van's breaking down, wheels will hit the ground. Gotta keep it going. Fire's burning down, rains are coming down. Smoke is clearing up, I see. This desert's beautiful like I've never seen. These rocks were home to a desert queen. Hitchhikers thumbing out in this heat. While I'm riding high in the driver's seat, in the driver's seat, the driver's seat, in the driver's seat, the driver's seat, in the driver's seat, the driver's seat. All right, thank you.
That was awesome. Thanks, Jess.
Oh man, it's hot and dry today.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you need to keep the liquids
Yeah,
going.
keep hydrated.
I think bubbly White Claw is good for your voice, right?
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets a little loose.
Yeah.
Awesome. Applause. None of it.
All right, this next song I'm gonna do for you, I don't have recorded anywhere, but I just started writing it when I was sick of things that kept happening over and over and over constantly, which we're all kind of in a spot where it's the same thing every day, just worrying about what's going on. And anyway, this is not about what's going on now. This is called Over and Over. Over and over, I think of you. Over and over, the whole night through. One more last drink, one more last song, one more last call. What could go wrong? Over and over, mile after mile, love song after love song, night after night. Mistakes were made, me through. Over and over, mile after mile, love song after love song, night after night. You see it on my face, my heavy heart. I best not complain. Should've known from the start. And you took my hand and looked me in the eye. But you went home with her. And I'm alone tonight. Over and over, mile after mile, love song after love song, night after night. Over and over, mile after mile, love song after love song, night after night. Over and over. Thank you so much. Whew. The guitar I'm playing was made by Wes Urbaniak, who was on this once before, right? Yeah.
No, it's funny that you said that because Eric actually asked that in the chat too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, and then just a couple days ago, I don't even know what today is. Anyone else have that problem?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
I don't
Sunday.
even know what's
Sunday,
going
yeah.
on.
Friday, he shaved down the neck for me. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
just
So
like
it's-
learning to play a new guitar a little bit, but I love it.
Is it easier to
better.
play now?
Yeah.
Nice.
But my thumb keeps getting in the way because I'm like, it's so much easier. I don't
Wait,
know.
how does that go?
This- I have big hands.
You start to use your thumb for some chords. That's cool.
I probably can like
Get-
further down now.
Yeah, get.
right.
Oh man, yeah, get all
telling ya.
Hendrixy on.
Yeah. He's a guitar wizard. I'm trying to learn from him. Just being around him, soak it in a little bit.
Right.
That's great for so many reasons.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What should I play next? How about can I play a cover for you?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. I don't know why I feel like playing this song right now, but
Yeah. Play whatever you
this is
want.
a Michael Jackson song,
Oh hell yeah.
and anything in E minor or A minor has felt good lately. Anybody else? All the minor chords? Oh yeah, that feels like how I feel.
Like every guitar player out there. Is
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm. All right. I did not write this. She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind told me her name was Billie Jean. She caused a scene, and every head turned with eyes that dreamed of being no one. So we danced on the floor in a round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. Mama always told me, be careful who you love. Careful what you do, because a lie becomes the truth. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. Oh, the kid is not my son. 40 days and 40 nights, I was on her side. But who can stand when she's in demand her schemes and plans? So go on, dance on the floor in the round. So take my strong advice. Just remember to always think twice. Do think twice. She told my baby we danced till 3, and she looked at me, showed a photo of a baby crying. His eyes looked like mine. So we danced on the floor in the round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. Ooh, she came and stood right by me, the smell of sweet perfume. It happened much too soon. She called me to her room. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. No, the kid is not my son. She says I am the one. No, that kid is not my son. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. My mama always told me, be careful who you love. Careful what you do, 'cause yeah, that lie becomes the truth. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. Oh, the kid is not my son. She says I am the one. No, that kid is not my son. Billie Jean is not my lover. 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 All right. Now I'm warmed up. Thank you.
That was great.
I can't believe how dry my throat is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a question, right?
Yeah, Keller wanted to have you talk about.
Hi,
your
Keller.
album.
Yeah. I drove to LA to record my album with a good friend of mine, Chad McKenzie, who's actually from here. We went to high school together at Huntley Project, and he's been out in LA working at the studio for about 10 years. And the year anniversary was in March, and I was going to celebrate the year of my album, but things got in the way.
Yeah.
So things happened
You
in
don't
March.
say.
Yeah. But yeah, it it was amazing. I had Phil sang on some of those songs. He's singing backups, some train noises, some oohs, and yeah, it sounds. Please check it out because we put a lot of work into it, and I think it sounds pretty dang good. And I'm probably my worst critic, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I have never worked in a studio like that before, so it was a lot of pressure, a lot of work, but I loved doing it.
Can you talk more about your experience in the studio?
So, my personal experience was I got sick the first day I got there.
Damn.
It's all good. So, we did all the guitar tracks and all the music parts before I added in vocals, and then I just met some really amazing musicians there. The guy who runs the studio, and I'm blanking on his name, of course. Greg. And the name of the studio is Exposition Studios.
Cool.
I just felt like I was at home, which I didn't think I would because I had never been to LA before. I'm from Montana. I'm like Montana girl 100%.
Yeah.
Going to California to record my little country album. But I think that was the best part, was just I was so comfortable because everyone just made me feel like I was part of the Exposition Studios family.
That's awesome.
But
So it wasn't
my fingers
super,
were hurting.
It wasn't uncomfortable other than your fingers then?
No.
Yeah.
You know, I've never played my songs that many times in a row just with guitar, not singing,
Just
but
so many takes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to be creative and think of things to add. And I think it really helped that Chad and I have known each other since 4th grade. And we could say how we felt about things and not be...
Afraid.
It was just really great, yeah.
I'm sure that was like a really fun, like, creative endeavor.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky that that's my first big,
project.
big. Yeah. Yeah, because I've had great people in town here record my songs, like Bob Brown, and Ralph Sappington recorded some for me, and I'm forgetting people, so I wasn't prepared to talk about this.
No.
I'm so sorry if I left anybody out. I love Wes records a ton of stuff for me.
Yeah. And have we talked about Wes's guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I'm just lucky. I don't know how it happened to me.
Yeah, there's like 100-year-old like piano wood in it and stuff.
There's and he's gonna have to write me a list of where all the wood's from, because I get asked every show.
Yeah.
Oh, when he was on here, he said he uses all sorts of like different woods that are old, used for different purposes and stuff.
Yeah. It's a pretty amazing gift. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks,
Should
Jess.
Should I play another song?
Please, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's do. Let's see. It's been a while since I've done this one. It is on the album. The album's called Next Train Home, by the way. This song is called Stronger Woman. Yeah, you can find it anywhere.
Awesome. Jessica Eve. Cool.
Next Train Home. It doesn't pop up right away. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that way, huh?
There's a Jessica Eve that DJ'd on a song called Shiny Disco Balls.
Do you need us?
And that pops up first. So that's not me.
Do you need us to track her down for you?
Yeah. Please.
Break some kneecaps.
Yeah, I didn't write a song called Shiny Disco Balls, but I might have to now.
Maybe.
Right.
You could cover it.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be sweet.
You can't copyright a song though.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this is Stronger Woman. So you need a drink for this one. Help, I'm lost. can't find my way home. Help, I'm torn. My pieces are on the floor. I don't think that you can see me, 'cause I've lost all my light. I don't think that you can hear me, 'cause I got no more fight. I'm begging the whole world to forgive me. You've taken all my pride. For all of this I finally lost me, and I'm calling out in the night. Help, I'm lost, can't find my way home. Help, I'm torn, my pieces are on the floor. Alone I stand, pull me up, put out your hand, 'cause I'm not done, no. I'm coming back a stronger woman. I'm climbing up out of the darkness, 'cause I want my voice heard. I'm tearing through all of the cobwebs and dusting off my words. I'm making my way to the other side, dealing with this hurt. Brushing off the doubt and the weakness, and soon I won't be cursed. Help, I'm lost, can't find my way home. Help, I'm torn, my pieces are on the floor. Alone I stand, pull me up, put out your hand, 'cause I'm not done, no. I'm coming back a stronger woman. I'm not done. You ain't seen the last of me, no. I'm not done. You ain't heard the last song I sing. I'm not done. You ain't seen the last of me, oh. No. Oh, help, I'm lost, can't find my way home. Help, I'm torn, my pieces are on the floor. Alone I stand, pull me up, put out your hand, 'cause I'm not done, no. I'm coming back a stronger woman. No, I'm not done, no. I'm coming back a stronger woman. Thank you. It's so funny. Singing, unfortunately, during lockdown and everything, I did not play very much. I don't know about other musicians, but it turned out to be not a very productive or artistic time for me. And I wanted to put out a video and say, you know, how I was feeling, and I was like, man, everybody already feels like crap. I don't want to tell everybody how crappy I feel and how this sucks for me. But yeah, because I usually just don't talk about my feelings other than the songs that I write.
Yeah.
You can guess how I'm feeling, I guess. But yeah, just playing like Stronger Woman. I'm like, man, I should have played that song. It might have made me feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
Very empowering
Yeah.
stuff.
And I remembered all the words, so
Hey.
Hey, that's
pretty dang
good.
good.
Jessica, we have another question.
Okay.
What is your favorite venue in Billings to play at, or was your favorite venue to play at?
I have more than one. That's really hard. For different reasons.
Top 5, 3?
Yeah. I love playing the garage. I always have. Just the atmosphere in there. It just feels good.
Well, and even now, like the sound is better
Yeah.
in there now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where I had my album release, because it just feels like home at the garage. I grew up playing music there. That was like one of my first places I played an open mic, and yeah. And then I love playing the winery, Yellowstone Cellars.
Yeah.
Something about the sound in there, I feel like a rock star every time I play. I don't know.
There's a big sound in there.
Yeah. It's a weird box of a building, but it sounds really good.
Right.
And man, I don't know. I've had good times playing in so many different places.
Yeah,
Again, I'm gonna leave somebody out, and they're gonna be like, "Why didn't you say my venue?"
What the heck?
Yeah.
All the venues are great.
Yes, all the venues are fantastic.
Be so diplomatic about it. Like,
Yeah. Those two are kind of my home base spots, I guess, because I played the very first show at the winery when they had their grand opening, and I've just continued to play there. I have like my own winery fan base, I feel like.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
winery peeps.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a lot of fun, yeah.
That's great.
just put you on the spot. What's the worst venue?
Yeah. I'll tell you about one in Norman, Oklahoma, because I bet nobody's watching from Oklahoma.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story?
Oh, sure, I can tell that
Yeah.
story.
Well, what they do to you?
I don't know if it's fun for everyone, because it's kind of like a musician. Musicians will be like, that is crap.
All right.
But
Many of us are musicians, so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, for people listening too.
Well,
I don't know. Is
fuck-
anyone listening
Yeah, fuck
besides
them anyway. I don't know.
people are asking questions? Keller was on there.
Yeah.
I played in Norman, Oklahoma at the Red Brick Bar. And I went in there, and it's a smoking bar, which is new because I don't think I was playing when you were able to smoke in bars.
Yeah.
I don't know when that happened, but anyway. So that was tough because I don't do well in smoky environments. And the first time wasn't bad. I mean, I got paid $50 and played 4 straight hours with like one break. Yeah. And
Only $50 for that?
$50, I didn't get any free drinks
Oh my god.
or food or anything. And I was like, good thing I'm sleeping in my van and I've got pretzels. So we're good.
Ouch.
Man.
But the last time I went through with Nick Koza, we were on tour when the shutdown happened, and we played at the Red Brick Bar again. And we were told we were going to get $100, and we were playing for an hour. And I thought that was pretty amazing. We played for, I think, 2 maybe, but anyway, we did, and then as soon as we were done, he started charging a cover charge at the door.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, what's after us? Is there like a big name band or something coming in to play? And he's like, no, it's karaoke. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's rough.
And he told me, he kept saying, oh man, beer prices are so bad. I just can't afford to pay you. And I'm really sorry. And
Didn't
So-
pay you?
well, not well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you
Yeah.
couldn't have that cover charge for live
I
entertainment?
know.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we would have made more than $100. That's all right. I don't know. If that's I have worse stories, but
No, yeah, I was just curious.
one that came to mind.
We could talk some shit here anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you pay $5 to go sing karaoke at a smoking bar that's, what the heck? Right after live music?
Maybe a smoking
Like,
bar.
what the heck?
I mean, you can go to the Crystal for free.
Right?
That's the point.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't any better, let me tell you, because we listened and it wasn't like, here's $5 for me to sing you the best song you've ever heard.
No.
It's like,
There's a reason they're paying to sing.
Pay to play.
Instead of getting paid.
yeah. But I love being on the road. I feel like I write the most when I'm on the road and meeting new people and seeing new places. And it's been really tough being stuck at home.
Yeah.
So we'll get back out there.
Sometime.
Yep. All right. How much time do I have? Or
Could you play 2 more for us?
Yeah.
And we'll go to a quick break.
yeah,
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
sure.
Thanks again for being here.
Yeah.
Sounds really great.
Thank you.
We've got a lot of compliments in the comments.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna play the title track on my album, so that means you gotta go look me up
Yeah, go
Nice.
Jessica Eve.
Clever.
and listen to it.
Very good.
And then you can find me at Jessica Eve Music on Instagram and Facebook, and my website is jessicaevemusic.com. What other stuff do I have? I think I have a Twitter.
Nice.
Go ahead and tweet me. We'll see if I.
It's somewhere.
I don't know how to run it.
It's hard. I don't get it.
I don't. Yeah, I can barely run Facebook and Instagram and my website. So. All right, I'm gonna do another cover for you because I'm in the mood for these A minor songs. Here's another one. This is a Grace Potter song. I think it's called Nothing But the Water. Anyway, I thought it was appropriate for how I'm feeling. Maybe other people too. We'll see. Let's see. Dude, no. I have seen what man can do when the evil lives inside of you. Many are the weak, but the strong are few. But with the water, we'll start anew. So won't you take me down to the levee? Take me down to the stream. Take me down to the water. We're gonna wash our souls clean. I have fallen so many times for the devil's sweet cunning rise. This whole world has brought me pain, but with the water we'll start again. So won't you take me down to the river? Take me down to the lake. Take me down to the water. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. Tried my hand at the Bible. Tried my hand at prayer. But now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear. I have seen what man can do when the evil lives inside of you. Many are the weak, but the strong are few. And with the water, we'll start anew. So won't you take me down to the river? Take me down to the lake. Take me down water. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. Tried my hand at the Bible, tried my hand at prayer, but now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear. But now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear. All right, thank you. Thanks, Grace Potter, for writing that song. Mm-hmm. All right, this last song is a train song. Trains have a special place in my heart. I grew up where the trains rattled my bedroom windows. They represent more than just a train to me. So anyway, this one's called Here Comes the Train. He's hot and tired too.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. I love being, forced to get out and do this stuff. It really helps.
Glad you're here for sure.
Yeah. All right. Here comes the train, running down that track. Feel the ground shaking, no it ain't coming back. Ain't slowing down for you to get on board. So you better start running, what are you waiting for? Well, chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Well, don't fear the train, it's only there if you choose. It's not a win or lose game, but it's waiting on you. Ain't stopping now for you to make up your mind. Are you in or out, boy? 'Cause there ain't much time. Chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Comes the train, horns blowing away. Get off the track now, before it ruins your day. You see those lights, they're warning you to get on or out now, 'cause it'll drive right through. Well, chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Chug a chug, 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 chug a choo choo. Here comes the train, here comes the train, here comes the train. Here comes the train, here comes the train, here comes that train. Here comes the train, here comes the train. so much.
Thanks so much, Jessica.
My name's Jessica Eve. Look me up.
Yeah, please check it out.
Keep-
Spotify, Apple Music, Jessica Eve.
Yes.
All of
Train
the
home.
places.
And stick around because we've got poetry coming up next and then discussions.
Awesome.
What did you call it earlier? A group?
A gang vocal.
A gang
Gang
vocal.
vocal.
Yeah. Be ready for that.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're going to cut to a short break and we'll be right back.
Without even having a true one.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. We just had Jessica Eve play some beautiful songs. So thanks very much to her. We'll have her back up for our gang session later. And for now, we're going to have our friend Siesa Shuman do some poetry. So give her a hand virtually or whatever. Thank you.
Howdy. I don't know if there are any beginning questions, or should I just do a poem?
Jump in. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So I guess I'm gonna do the very first poem I ever wrote. Well, not the very first poem I ever wrote. The first spoken word poem I ever wrote. I used to be exclusively a spoken word artist. But that shit gets dramatic real quick. Open mics, they hold a special place in my heart. It's called Astronomy. It was formerly known as Inkstronomy, but we're retiring that name. Okay. Maybe you were moon, reminded dogs of their roots wolf, and when you came out to shine, all the wolves began to howl. Maybe you were moon, gravity always keeping us at arm's length, you making my waves wax and wane and crest, but you could not have been moon. That would mean your shine came from somewhere else, would mean you only shined in the night. That would mean you revolved around me. So maybe you were sun. I spent a year circling around you, following the only path your force would let me. Maybe you were sun, bright and hot, nurturing all my life by burning through all my layers, but you could not have been sun. Because all stars have to die, and you did always take everything that depended on you down in your flame, but I cannot imagine you not burning forever. So maybe you were universe, the cold pool holding it all together, the inky void that all my messages got lost in, the never-ending black, the everything. So maybe you were everything. Your eyes, two supernovas forever and always exploding. Your mouth, a black hole sucking in everything and letting nothing out. Your breasts, two galaxies, and when I fucked up. Two galaxies pointing me somewhere I'm sure I was not ready to go. In your thighs, I'm back on track. To nebulae, and when they parted, mere men would get lost in the sight. I am no man, but I was still mere and meek and mild, so I found it hard to look away, and while you were out there being everything, I was just the earth, and you were flooding my shores, and those damn wolves would not stop howling, my atmosphere barely holding together, and your heat set all of the land on fire. I was drowning in your influence, burning in your sight, but you are no moon and no sun, and definitely not everything, because you are nothing but a girl, flesh and bones and firing synapses, or maybe you were a woman and I was a girl trying to play make-believe, trying to fit my bones in your too tight skin, and you were everything that I wanted to be, smart, without effort, kind, with no ulterior motives, and beautiful, so beautiful. And the boys wanted to touch you, and sometimes you let them, and when it was my turn, I reached out my hands and they turned to dust, to dust. But Carl Sagan once told me, and a poet once reminded me, that we are all made out of the interiors of collapsed stars, and that's why one heavy breath from your lips was enough to just blow me away. Yeah. So she's an oldie, but she's a goodie.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of fun was coming. And I liked it because a lot of the lines in it, especially the first couple, I wrote in my creative writing class in high school. And I find a lot that I'll write a poem, it won't be that great, but then later on I'll find like the place those lines are supposed to actually be in. And so like old terrible poems get like resurrected and made better. Yeah. Okay. Nice. What next? Question, no question, read another poem.
Question.
Oh, I got a question.
Yes. So, question from Eric. What genre of poetry is your favorite? And follow up, do you have one poet you always look back to for inspiration?
Okay, so I don't have a favorite genre of poetry. I prefer local poetry. I prefer seeing it as it's happening. I find that most of the time that I'm writing a poem, it's because I am sitting in an open mic and I'm like, yeah, I'm into it now. Two poets that are really influential to me, my friend Rebecca, who her use of imagery, just the way she makes simple things, like she's the reason why primordial is one of my favorite words, but that's like how I can describe her imagery and the way she describes simple things. Like it all feels so fantastical and old in culture. And then there my friend Tommy, who's going by Tom Young, he just released his I'm name dropping and I'm gonna promote him really quick, so his name is Tom Young. He just released his first published book, Bespoke, and I remember my freshman year, I've never met a person so dedicated to their craft. I am not even going to attempt to, but he did one of those blackout poems of the entire chapter of Genesis in the Bible. And I remember it being in my freshman dorm and listening to him literally read it for hours, just hours and hours. And I was like, love it, can't get enough of it. And it's in the book and it fits on a page, and that's crazy to me. But they're two people, his vocabulary is out of this world. You're learning a school lesson and reading good poetry at the same time, which makes sense because he's an educator. But yeah, those are two people I look towards, definitely.
Awesome.
What is a blackout poem?
A blackout poem is kind of, it's usually used for creative writing exercises. It's when you take usually a random page out of a magazine or a book and you can only remove words from the page to create your own poem from the content is. So he went through all of Genesis and he made it, very homoerotic. But to be honest, you can do that really easily with the Bible. But
crazy.
Yeah, it was, but it's so good now. It's like a mini biopic, and I just love to see it happen. Yeah.
Cool. You want to do another?
Yeah, I'll do another one. I'll do an older one. We can just take this little journey of Siesa's poetry together. Okay, I'll do this one. Also very angsty, but the lines are pretty fire. I found it in an old journal. I remember reading it at an open mic and being just so sad. And now I read it and I'm like, oh baby, do you need a hug? What's going on here? Okay, it's called Every Poem is an Obituary, if you wanted to know how angsty it is.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. I have haunted this land as some golden-eyed dead thing, lip lines bleeding blood clot red, proof that you do not have to die to become the living dead. Are these dirt or bruises? Did I get them from throwing myself into an open grave or crawling out of one? I'm trying to decide which is worse, the sun on my ashen face or the hellfire at my back. My hair smells of sulfur. I drape myself in satin slips and call it a death cloak. I have been trying to warm my hands over my own funeral pyre, tossing my own bones, hoping to tell me my own future. No one will blink at my open casket funeral. I have looked like this for years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's good, but I'm like, what's going on? I don't remember.
Well, you gave me goosebumps with that one slide.
I want to put the first part on a shirt.
Which part exactly?
The golden-eyed dead things, proof you don't have to die to become the living dead. Those first 4 lines.
Yeah.
I feel like they're pretty fire.
Can you say them again slower?
Okay, yeah. I have haunted this land as some golden-eyed dead thing, lip lines bleeding blood clot red, proof that you do not have to die to become the living dead. I mean, that's a party girl's anthem right there. Okay, let's see. And then I'm gonna do... Okay, I'm gonna do my most favorite poem that I've ever written. I'm gonna look at it because hopefully I can do it without this phone in my hand. I'm not putting the beer down though. Let's see.
That's part of it.
Yeah. It doesn't have a name. I always meant to look up whatever. There's a word for memories invoked by scent. But I'm always too lazy to just...
Synesthesia.
That's the name of the poem. Synesthesia. There you go.
Is that right?
I don't know.
Wait, I thought that was like when you see
Oh.
sound.
It's both. It's both.
Oh, okay.
It's when one sense evokes another. Yeah, so that could be really general or specific too.
Chat. Google it. We don't know.
I think.
That's okay. I didn't realize it applied to both things.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I wiped the juice. I wrote this in class while I was supposed to be paying attention, but
Perfect.
yeah, I was eating an orange, which is what I was just writing about the orange, and then the poem turned into something different, and I'm super fucking into it. I need to stop cussing. My mom was watching. Okay. I wiped the juices off of my chin, dropped the peels in the bottom of my bag to wither and dry. They say that scent is the strongest sense in memory. Through the Florida Grove, Southern California Farmers Market, Moroccan back alley, whatever beautiful place you say you will eventually find yourself. You will smell oranges, maybe as an aroma caught on the breeze, or as you pick them up, hold them to your lips, squeeze them gently with your fingertips. I want you to remember me, but as this, as citrus and sunshine, as flowing juices and sticky chins, I want you to remember that you found me ripe in time, not as fallen fruit, dirtied and bruised, plucked up so as only not to be wasteful. Yeah. That's my favorite poem. Super cute. And then
Why is it your favorite?
Because I guess when I liked it because for a long time, especially like just being in my local spoken word circuit, I wrote poems, like poems had a deadline. Like I wrote poems specifically to be performed. And it got really taxing, and I was still writing good poems, but they didn't mean anything to me. And this poem was really off the cuff. It was a moment where I just felt like writing a poem, so I did. And another reason why I like it is because, selfishly, but I don't feel bad about it, I write all of my poems about myself.
Yeah.
And at the time, I did not know I was writing this poem about myself. I was just writing something down. But then I was in Morocco, and I was in the market, and I was smelling oranges, and I was like, that's a beautiful place you found yourself in right now. And I was like, I wrote about that. So it's like, it's nice because I felt like in spoken word, it was more popular to write about like really, really heavy shit. Like just basically be like, oh, here are all of my problems, which is like a thing that I found really therapeutic. But when you do it every single week, it gets a little predatory on yourself. And it was nice because I just wrote a nice poem for myself. And that really was an inspiration for how I used to write my poetry to how I write it now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you write it more for yourself now, is kind of the thing, or?
Yeah, now it's not just the poems are about myself; they're also for myself.
So that you can enjoy them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't stress myself out about writing poetry anymore. I guess I would say I don't write poetry. I am a poet. When I want to write a poem, I do, and all the other times I don't feel like writing a poem, it's not an issue at all.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
I like that.
So I guess I'm gonna do another one. I've got a couple that are from my time in Morocco, so I guess I just said that, so I'll go ahead and read that off. Oh, wait. Now I'm gonna back it up because I got charity doings in Anna Page at Kirk's Grocery by Shane DeLeon, love y'all. Gracefully published one of my poems, in the downtown Billings Gazette last winter. Last page of the local newspaper, what's up? And it's really, I wrote it inspired by a guy that I liked, didn't like, you know, all that good stuff. And when it got published, I accidentally sent him the poem on Snapchat. So yeah, I'm just gonna tag it as a don't like. That's the final thing, because I embarrass myself, but it's whatever. So I'm gonna read it real quick. Inshallah whispered to me from across the river Jordan. He swears, wallah, wallah, that he was born with his feet in the water. He paints a picture of his world for me, but says if I am looking for God, I will have to read between the lines. I call him Habibi, but it only sounds like sweetheart. It is our accent, not our hands, that do not fit quite right. I'm trying to teach myself how to speak in poetry, and while it is his whole language, he says my Arabic is good enough. I have not learned those words quite yet. Inshallah is whispered to me from across the sands. He said he would take me to the pyramids, but he is somewhere else, always somewhere else. And we loved each other, but never quite at the same time. Yet there was so much left to learn about him. I do know that his mother does not like me. She says there will be other curly-haired boys to whisper small, heretical things to me. And when we turn from each other, inshallah falls from both of our lips. I guess a little backup, inshallah is like an Arabic saying. It means like God willing. It's like you say, you're like, I'll see you next week. And it's like, inshallah, like hopefully if everything goes according to plan. So probably should have prefaced with that. And now we're in Morocco. Sweet. I wrote this on the beach in Agadir. I was with my friends in Montessoir and Maniba, and it was pretty dope. I was having a pretty good day. There's a sea dog that tried to bite my headphone cable, so I decided I would write a poem about him. Oh. He was a cute dude. It's called
sea dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a normal dog who hangs out by the sea, or is it?
Yeah,
okay.
That's a sea dog there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a seahorse where it's like.
No. I misexplained myself. He's definitely a mermaid dog.
Okay. right.
Wait. Okay.
No,
yeah.
it's a regular dog on the beach. I don't.
That was like a gullible moment right there.
I feel bad.
I'm pretty easy.
I don't want to lie to you. Okay, so the poem is called Sea Dog.
Cool.
It is so bright on this overcast beach. The ocean smells like shit. The inside of my mouth is coated in salt. I want to write a poem about how when I stand in the water, I can feel my heels begin to sink. But more than that, I want to stand here until I have sunk as far as my knees and the waves break against my breasts, till the water turns warm against my legs and then cool again. I watch a ship swim slowly away in the distance in the sunset. I take care to step carefully over the snail-covered rocks when an old man waves to me from across the sand. And despite all my better judgment, I reach down to pet a dirty sea dog nuzzling against me. And I wonder if anyone else had ever felt at peace or happy before they heard the whisper of the water calling and calling and calling.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still in Morocco. What am I writing now?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have your poems written down somewhere for people to look at?
I've got this like huge problem where like occasionally I'll write a poem on a scrap piece of paper and then lose it forever. And then sometimes I post to this poetry Instagram that is SEESA.speaks. That's SEESA.speaks.
Nice.
But I
That's pro level plugging.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the problem. I don't ever post to it. But I'm trying to get like more
You're
into the
halfway
process of
there.
this. Yeah, a lot of the poems I'm reading now I have forever, and I copied and pasted them off of that Instagram. So if you hear any of the poems that you like and you want to read them again, that's SEESA dot. No, it's perfect. I'm gonna get the whole jingle. You're charged with writing the little guitar behind it. It's a thing.
I was trying to harmonize with you.
I'm into it, and I appreciate it, so. Okay, now I've got one. Okay. I'm saving one of my favorites for last. I guess while I'm scrolling through this, I'll talk a little about how I write.
Yeah.
So I find, I took a poetry class with Lynn Doyle. She's a babe and a half. And she always was hammering home that, like, famous creative writing saying, show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. I hate that. And I remember arguing with her a lot about it in class. And I was like, but what if you didn't have to decipher my poem to figure out how I felt if I just told you in, like, imagery languages? And so that's kind of, I find that I want to write mostly about just things that I'm experiencing within a moment. I hardly ever write about the past now. If I'm writing a poem, it's because, like, in that moment, I'm like, gotta bang this out real quick.
Part of a, like, emotional process for you then? Or?
I would say so, yeah. I had a professor, Joe Bryan, who's also a babe and a half, and I took a songwriting and poetry class with him. That's the class I wrote astronomy in. We had to write 2 poems and 2 songs, and then we had to perform them in front of each other. And we released an album. It's called Everyone But Joe. It's on SoundCloud. We don't get any money from it, but if you want to see just some vulnerable kids making some vulnerable art, it's a good place to look.
Cool.
And he always was hammering home. He was like, live like a poet, be a poet. And I never really knew what he was talking about at the time. But now I think it's just like, sometimes I feel like like you were saying, I process things in the form of a poem. Like I do this thing sometimes where I write a poem about how I'm feeling and then I just throw it away. I'm like, cool, dealt with that, processed it, and now have a better understanding of what I'm doing, like a practice in emotional intelligence. And so that's what I do now. Like, I guess poetry can be therapeutic. And it's also, it feels scandalous to be like, goodbye forever. No one will ever read you. Because I don't think we're supposed to be doing that.
That's sweet.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters either.
Do you burn them or throw them away, or what do you?
I just throw them away.
Yeah. You don't do like a crazy.
I should start doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, put them up.
Cool.
Get my little mirror out,
Yeah.
a little altar. Yeah. Burn a little incense. I bet that could be pretty good for some stuff.
Little pentagon on the floor, or pentagon. What's it?
Pentagon.
Go through all the pents. We'll get there. Yeah, but I feel like poetry could be a good way, like what you're speaking about on manifesting. Every song's a prayer, every prayer is a spell, is how I feel about things like that. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote this one about bad dreams I was having. Yeah, it's called In My Dream. In my dream, there is the ledge I am standing on, the crowd below looking up at everything except for me, the air in between, and an old man at my back asking me if I'm gonna jump. And if not, maybe I should reconsider for a chance to be looked at. The crowd below lifts their hands and stares at the air under my feet. I close my eyes. I only climbed up on this ledge for a chance to breathe. And when I wake, there is no old man or crowd, just me and the ledge and the air in between. That's my mother requesting a very specific poem.
Now you gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta take my phone off of power saving mode, get up into that Google Drive, or maybe I could just go it off the cuff. Maybe I remember it, maybe I don't. I gotta put the beer down. They say my blacks don't match. My shirt don't match my shoes, don't match my leggings, but I wear all black anyway. They say my blacks don't match because Beyonce is not my queen, because I say nigga a lot, but I fucked it up. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay. And there's the clothes part, and then there's the music part, and then there's the slang. I'm right. I'm ready. Yeah. Okay. They say my blacks don't match, my shirt don't match my leggings, don't match my shoes, and the difference in tones are noticeable, but I wear all black anyway. They say my blacks don't match because I don't listen to rap, because Beyonce is not my queen, but my parents play the Temptations every Sunday, and I know all the words. They say my blacks don't match because I don't really talk in slang, but I say nigga a lot. When I was little, I used to write stories, and all of the characters were named Melissa and Kurt. Their hair was blonde like snow, their eyes clear and deep blue like water. I know it is not original, but who cares about being creative when I could have been white? They say my blacks don't match. I remember taking a picture in the 8th grade with my friends. The gym lights had shut off. In the picture, you can only see a crooked smile and some sad eyes. They say my blacks don't match. I remember when my friend Joella came over to my house, asked me why I had so many black portraits on my walls, and I wonder, how could I feel so comfortable in those brown walls and not this brown skin? They say my blacks don't match, and now I only write poems and all of the characters have my name. I don't care about looking white anymore. Anytime I denied myself of this black skin, I was whiting out the story my mother and all the mothers before her wrote out in their blood. They say my blacks don't match, but ain't I black all the damn time? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I've got, what am I doing for time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got, I think,
Couple more?
2 more? I've got 2 more. This is very, oh God. Sorry, my glasses are fucking my shit up. I got 3 more, but one of them is short, and I'm going to do all 3 of them.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
this is called Vulnerability. I also wrote this when I was in Morocco. Vulnerability. 1. There can be no connections. If that's Jackie. Oh, that's my mom. There can be no connections where there is no reaching out. Without building bridges of our bent backs, make rope of our outstretched arms and knots of our hands. 2. How can we trust if we have not tasted the salt of each other, wrung out of ourselves in blood and sweat and tears? That's my mom. Before we choked on each other's sweetness, grown bitter together. 3. How can we say we have not been touched? How can we say we have been touched unless we have let someone's hands at our backs, our throats, between our teeth? 4. How can we say that we have been seen if no one has ever found us hiding in our own shadows, if we have never been exposed, never had the mask removed? 5. It is not weakness. It is the dissolution of strength when strained muscles succumb under fatigue. 6. It is a mirror we hold up to each other, that we are forced to look directly into, or bloody our hands beating against the surface, or never be able to look at the person holding the mirror again. 7. It is embracing the warmth and accepting the risk of being burned. Vulnerability.
Nice.
This one is short. It's called Doggin, which is a sex thing, I think. I think it's when people like have sex in public. That's not the point of the poem,
So
but it kind of
dogging,
relates.
It means you're having sex in public.
It's like this one person sets up an undisclosed public location. I guess it's disclosed once they tell people, huh?
Yeah.
It's like geocaching, but for like.
I didn't find that out until after I had read the poem, but I'm not changing the title. Like in retrospect, it's a good title. Dogging. I'm sorry.
Hilarious. Never knew about that.
Keep that in mind.
That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right?
Keep all of this in mind when I'm reading this poem. I found my face buried in the backyard while I was digging for the bone you promised to throw me. Everybody saw me, hind legs in the air, and my ears tucked low to the head, and my tail betraying how I truly felt. And that's a sex thing now. Wasn't originally, but that's what it is now. And so this last one is called Why. I wrote it for class in college. Anytime they were like, do any type of final project, I was like, I guess I'm writing a poem. I wrote it for this class I took with this old sage. His name is Michael Dale. He's a babe and a half. He won't be watching this because he disavows technology. And the song was called Hearing Voices, the intersection between science and literature. And the entire time we just read about things scientists have written or things about scientists with a little bit of existential crisis in it. And we would just sit in class and talk about, does time exist and what's God and all that good shit. And so this poem is like a culmination of all the different things we discussed in that class, and it's one of my favorites. And I would say this is more indicative of how I choose to write now. Okay. Why? This shit is billions of years in the making. When I walk, I try not to consider how the ground under my feet has been dispersed, migrated to here from far where I'm at now. Try not to think of the colliding crust that raised the very mountains I amble through, the oldest of its kind shaped off by the years. When shaking a new person's hands, I try not to consider how many creatures climbed out of the primordial ocean just to die on the beach and get their opposable thumbs wrapping around mine. Try not to focus so much on the how. When I see a sunrise, I try not to think about physics, how my body is perpetually flying through space at the same rate of those I am constantly measuring my own progress against. And I try to forget grade school science, fuck Newton, and whatever guy he stole his ideas from. I try to forget that I no longer see a reoccurring miracle of fire in the sky and think, who? Sometimes I try not to think about cigarette tars in the back of mice, about my own lungs scraped clean. I try not to wonder the weight of the soul, for I feel something heavy in my core. I try not to think about the stolen stories, pray to forget the forgotten ones. I want to bask in the glow of thermonuclear, marvel over man's ability to harness the same energy as that great reoccurring miracle. I want to thank someone for the maps of the inside of my body. I want to be grateful. More than that, I try not to think. I try not to worship these scientists. Try not to replace one lost faith with ever-changing facts. I want to view them as gods, but they seem just as fickle, just as scorned, just as vengeful as the God I have been attempting to replace. And I try not to think about the ifs, like, what if math is God's coding language we were all meant to decipher, like Sumerian text? It makes me think that the Babel Tower will be torn down, not by many hands, but by controlled and studied detonations, bless you, and about what it means if the energy from the inside of my body does not move on to somewhere else, is just converted to maggot food left for the fungi. I wonder if they think me a god. I wonder if I am merciful. I never want to think about these things. I always thought that science would be the question of how or when. But mostly, I only ask myself, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Siesa.
Dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Is that it?
Anything
Come
else
on.
you want to say or whatever? Finishing stuff?
Last
Points?
Yeah, go to Kirk's Grocery.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
1220 Minnesota Avenue. Ooh, I don't know if that's the address actually. It's something Minnesota Avenue.
Yeah, it's like Minnesota 29th or something, right?
It's like
Yeah.
mhm.
I can't remember the address, but yeah. 20
Kirk's
minutes
Grocery.
in Minnesota, Kirk's Grocery.
Actually, don't even
Something
if you don't want to
Kirk's.
go there, just send them some money right now. Kirk's
Yeah.
Grocery Venmo.
Yeah.
Send them like $500. Okay.
Thank you, Siesa. So we're just gonna take a short break and we're gonna gather up and do some gang discussion. I wanted to thank Stan Parker for doing cameras this time.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah. Little fancier camera game now, which is sick. And then Tyson, as usual, on the audio.
Oh, yeah.
And Eric Tonis is in Eugene, Oregon, doing remote stuff, like promoting this and shit. So thanks to him, too.
Yeah, trying to go. Yeah.
And Jessica Eve, of course. You'll see her in
Thanks,
just a
Jess.
second.
Yeah.
Jordan Finn, Ty Herman, Phil Griffin.
Okay, we'll see you in just a few.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Holy shit, right.
that music.
And
You
that
just
music
announce
was,
what I do.
Let's talk about that music for a second. It was our friend's Fantasy Suite that live in Missoula.
Man, that stuff is great.
So great sounding. You can check out their album on all streaming services. That's Fantasy Suite, like a hotel suite.
SUITE.
SUITE. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
Boy can spell.
I could spell.
So proud of you, buddy.
Hey, can I get the projector back? After I'm
Oh, yeah, here.
Do you know her, Stan?
Projector. I hardly knew her. Okay. So now that that's out of the way. Is it? No. I'll be doing that for much too long, I'm sure. So yeah, we just want to sit down with you guys and like get kind of. Me and Sice have been through this before, just chatting. But yeah, I just kind of like to bullshit with people and see about their process or their life or whatever. So.
Can I just show you guys what's behind you right now?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
He's just hanging out.
Beautiful faces.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
room
it's,
for room.
it's
on the
either
couch
that
if
or
he wants to come
terrifying.
down.
Yeah, I know. It's like a. It's alright. We should have a table for drinks here.
Oh, we can probably make that
That's
happen.
okay. I'm just joking. I have hands.
Okay, alright.
You do?
Jess was just saying how this was really cool for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to toot our horn, but I was curious about what that means to you when you say that.
No, just being around other creative people is so important for me.
Yeah.
And I've never heard you before, and it did a lot for me.
Yeah.
I needed some poetry and different opinions, and even just you talking about your process and what you learned. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot just sitting there listening.
Yeah.
I want to write a song now.
Cool.
I'm tooting my
Nice.
horn now. Like, mine goes up to like right here right now.
You're what?
I said my ego's like up to like.
Oh,
No, but I really appreciate that. I've never gotten time to just. I feel like all the creative things I do is usually sharing time and space with other people. So it was really nice to just have some, to just be able to talk about myself, I guess. Yeah. So I'm glad that I did something for you. Your
Yeah.
music was absolutely just gorgeous. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it was.
You guys
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah, it was great.
Both of you.
Real glad to have both of you, for sure.
What in particular, if you can call up any that you feel like was like something you learned from just like hearing Sice talk?
I should have written it down.
Yeah.
It'll come to me later, like in the shower.
Yeah, right.
That's what I wanted to remember.
It's cool if you don't have anything
No,
offhand.
what was the quote that your show it, don't tell it, or show don't tell?
Yeah.
And I mean, in songwriting, was the songwriting class too?
Yeah, except you were
I've
fighting
learned
about it.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime I've really done like a structured, creative writing, whether it be songs or poetry, that's like a common mantra I hear, and I'm like,
Fuck that.
well, it does have its purposes,
Yes.
and there has been like when you're writing a poem or even a song, I've been dabbling with songwriting, but that's just for fun and everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does benefit to like instead of saying you're angry, like to compare it to something.
Right.
But like, I don't think it's like needs to be a die-hard rule.
Right.
You know?
It's just something that I've always struggled with because some of my favorite songwriters are very. I don't have the words. Also, just listening to you talk, I was like, I need to get a dictionary out and get smarter because I feel like an idiot. But some of my favorite songwriters are so deep and they use so much imagery and so much. I mean, you could think of a million ways to interpret the song, and I feel like I write very simple, but turns out people think my songs are about completely different things than they are, so maybe it's not as simple as I thought, but
Yeah.
I'm always striving to try and make it more interesting and more
Flexible?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Wes
I'm
was,
not finding the right words,
well,
but
Wes was talking about unphrasing was something, and I don't know anything about what that means, but
West language is
yeah, I would like to talk to him more about that.
yeah.
Phrase it that makes it kind of vague enough that it's like at once striking still, but also relatable and like portable.
So that's something I personally try to do. I used to be completely against editing poems. I wrote it. That's how it is. But there is, I find crazy editing makes things better. But something that really helps when I'm trying to, because I concur with you. I feel like I write simply, like I'm like, here's the line, and I like an extended metaphor, like in astronomy and everything. But that's pretty much clear and to the point. But when it comes to like other poems, it's just like being like, and I was angry. And then taking that poem and being like angry, like what, and like kind of working on it line
like
by
how?
line.
Yeah.
It's it helps because I know what you're saying when like my.
How was that in the mask? Yeah, mask burp. So good.
Pretty solid.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a solid 7.
My
for sure.
inspiration, Rebecca, the way she writes is like so jam-packed with imagery, and like that line, like the primordial ocean and everything, completely 100% inspired by how she writes. And it's not even close to, like, she's written this poem called Leviathan, and it's like, I'm like, how do make things compare to who, what, how? But she also told me this really great thing where she's like, sometimes it's better not to get discovered young or not to have your things published young, because really when you get older, your work gets better just from like time and from practice. And she's like I worked really hard to get to this point, and she's like older than me, not like old or anything, but she's definitely older than me. And I'm like, it's really nice to think that maybe sometime down the line I'll be looking at a poem and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you already kind of sound like that. I was impressed because it was striking to me. I like recently just started writing like my first folk tune, at least in 10 years or something. I've always been really insecure about it.
I want to hear it.
Oh well, yeah, I would love
get a
you
guitar?
to sometime.
I just got a banjo. I just got a banjo. You're talking about folk music?
Yeah.
Didn't you post it on like social media?
I posted the beginning of it, because I was just
what?
stoked of it. I was like, oh wow, this is the first verse that
What's
I've
the
ever
focus?
felt.
Yeah, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it worked out, but it sucks because like for most of the shit I've done, I like don't like it. But you like were talking about how you felt like your lines were fire in some of these, and that's like a cool thing to be able to recognize. I think to like be like, yeah, I did some cool shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a long time coming.
Yeah, I feel like that's a hard spot to get to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like part of being an artist, and I think it's part of like the growth, is when you look back on things you've done, you know that you could have done it better. But like now I'm like, I think it's really important, not just for art, but like personally, to be very invested and proud in the things that you do. And I would say that I'm like incredibly proud of the work I've done, poetry wise especially. It feels nice to know that I'm good at a thing.
Yeah.
And I would have denied that a couple of years ago. But there's no point.
Right.
Yeah.
I write good poetry, that's that.
Were you
That's
Were you hesitant to identify as a poet for a while, or not, or was it?
Yeah,
did that go
because
together?
the reason why, and especially when I don't like seek relationship out with artists, is because we can be very pretentious, and I find this thing where sometimes like let's make things really dramatic so I can get a good piece of art out of it, and and I didn't really like being associated with that label, but I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like I'm a little pretentious and I'm a little dramatic, so you know, might as well just put the label on myself.
It fits. Right. Cool.
Well, the thing with tonight being music and poetry, I forget that poetry is so important in songwriting, and I should be doing both in order to make my songwriting better, and I haven't in so long. And I haven't even read poetry or listened to it in so long. I haven't listened to music in so long. Just been, I don't know what I've been doing.
Depressed.
Yeah.
That's how I've been.
I mean, I hate to say that, but that's kind of how it's been.
Yeah.
And just kind of focusing on family, which has been really great and wonderful. But I do miss my creative side, and just hearing you tonight, like, I'm going to go listen to some more poets and maybe write some poems myself and see if I can come up with a song out of it, or even an idea or a line or something. And it's just really important to broaden your horizons and not just get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's really. Sometimes I've been doing like just personally, not for like. Really, with the purposes of sharing with people, even though I sometimes do. I find that sometimes a poem is not good enough for something that you're feeling or something you have to say. So there's a couple of poems I've written. I'm like, this is a song, and I'm not very good at like instruments or whatnot, but I've got a little ukulele. I know at least 8 chords.
All you need is 3.
Yeah, that's way more than you need.
Me, G, C, and F were well acquainted, but some things just need to be said in the form of a song, and some things need to be done in the form of a poem. But I just like things I like about this, and just about art spaces and being around creatives is all art inspires each other.
Yeah, it all works together somehow, for sure.
Well, and there is a melody to what you do, and how you say your
a rhythm
how you,
for sure.
A rhythm, and there's a melody in there, and there's like you change your voice goes up or down depending on what you're saying, and it's really impactful.
That's definitely a skill I learned from doing spoken word. It's
Yeah.
like one of the bases of it being its own form of like expression. It's almost like theater, like you gotta like projection and when's time to get small, when's time to get big, but
dynamics.
I used to think about it.
It's musical.
I used to think about it like really hard when I was doing it. Like I would practice over and over and over again, and now like when I read a poem, it's just however the lines come out, it comes out. Like my Y poem, sometimes I do that very soft and very straightforward. Very little inflection, but I think that lends to like its science themes. And sometimes I'm like, want to get a little jiggy with it.
Yeah. That's great. I love how you said that you base poems often on like just a single image or like feeling that you have. It strikes me like for the longest time trying to write little more vulnerable tunes, like so I have a punk band and that was easier to write for, but doing folk music, like you're more exposed than rather than just like singing or screaming, but it's been helpful instead of being like, okay, I have to have this whole song and this thought together, being like, no wait, like what if I have one genuine thing from my experience that, hey,
you should see the screen right now. It's really
oh,
we're like above you on the couch.
I love that.
We put the beat
And I really love that it looks like I have one leg.
Oh
it's tough. Just one.
It's
Yeah.
I didn't
The
even
magic of
we
technology.
were doing money.
Yeah, it definitely escalated.
I'm gonna stay like this while playing it.
I kind of miss our bumpy raccoon though.
I know, where's the raccoon?
Ty, you're great and all, but the raccoon.
yeah.
Where is he?
That's the best.
Yeah,
Raccoon is the best.
He's just chilling so hard.
He's welcome anytime.
Alright, where is he at? Oh,
There's cats.
Find it.
that's a statue. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, there's the gross fucking.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
that?
It's like a bunch of hot dogs and mustard and stuff,
It's
like
not
in a
good.
toilet.
No.
That was-
It's like one of those vague images.
That was what MK like last stream. Like she was like, oh, this needs to be it.
Watch it. Oh man.
She's like, I want that behind us. Okay, I just threw up in my mouth, but that's great.
Well, before we were so rudely interrupted,
Jeez, Ty.
Yeah, that was my fault.
it was all Ty's
Yeah.
fucking fault.
Yes. I was just sitting here.
Oh, my idea. It was
Yeah, Stan actually suggested it.
Well, I didn't mean right now.
It's always the quiet ones.
Are y'all having secret conversations back there?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a little peanut guy.
No, he just did
back there.
like Navy SEAL signs.
I was peanut gallery.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I was talking about anyway, but
But what were you talking about?
Hey Phil, what were you talking about?
I do remember what I was talking about. It was with the thing of having a single point to start on, instead of expecting like a whole song or a whole poem to come out at once, which is like a ridiculous notion, probably mostly.
It depends on how you're feeling.
Yeah, you can kind of pour it out at once, maybe, but
In my dream poem is a culmination. There's no lines from other poems, but I have been trying to. I was having these particular series of dreams where basically it was just me, a group of people of my peers, and we'd have like superpowers, but I'd be like the worst one, and there'd always be an old man there, being like, Siesa, you fucking suck. And I was always like, what? But then at some point I realized that it was just me talking to me about my own insecurities, blah, 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 blah. But I always was trying to capture the very specifics of these events or these emotions I was feeling. And I'm like, just take that feeling and express that in a different type of way, which helps with the showing, not telling sometimes, where you're like, okay, I have this relationship, and maybe I'm not going to write a poem strictly about a relationship. I'm going to write it about a winding river or some shit. But I'm going to tie that into these feelings I'm having. And that's kind of how I like take my poems. An emotion, and I choose some type of imagery to grab onto. Yeah. And then it's fun because it's a cool way to like look at different perspectives of seeing things. Like, people talk about cliches, and you're not supposed to write about cliches, but that's stupid because like all the cliches are like exactly, they're really like integral parts of the human experience, like love and like shit like losing your virginity or like anything like that. And people are like, that's a cliche, don't write about it. And I'm like, that's stupid. But if you want to write about love and then tie it into something else, like love and
roses.
Exactly. like exactly. Just write about like watching a rose bush grow or some shit, and tie that into your emotions about how you feel about a relationship with your in, and you get. That's how I find I get some of my more interesting poems.
Yeah. I think that's a mistake that I made for a long time, and probably one that like a lot of people make, like trying to make art like this, is like. What's confusing with art is that we take it to be the real thing, instead of recognizing it as like a very artificial structure. So like if you go to write a song while thinking that like all your favorite artists were like writing about specific experiences, and like that they just happen to have this perfect experience that was perfectly poetic, and then they just wrote about it, is like probably happens sometimes, but not really often.
That's how I find when I was talking earlier about sometimes artists have a tendency to make things dramatic in order to write art about it. It's because we have this concept that things have to be dramatic to write art about it. Right. And I'm like, there's these everyday things, experiences we're having. Right. You can make it as dramatic as you want, but it didn't have to actually happen in that context.
Yeah, that's something you can fuck with, right? To like make the tension higher or more dramatic somehow. Right. Anyway, so I was like kind of
like love songs, I have to make shit up.
Zinger.
Telling you.
That's because most of them are part of propaganda machine.
Oh man.
To prop up monogamy and capitalism and stuff.
Buddy.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, you do.
I have a music question for you, though. I have a music question for you.
Okay.
Like, so you play in a ton of bands, and you play other people's music a lot. And then when you play your own, because I just started playing with Wes and playing his songs. Yeah. And I wish I would have been doing something like this forever.
Like support kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm learning more than ever on guitar. I'm doing harmonies at the same time. Like I'm just growing every day huge amounts. Yeah. And I'm wondering how you feel about that. Yeah. As like did it make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It's kind of funny, like that's something that I struggle with actually, is that for a long time I feel like I've done like more support type roles, which has been good. Like that is kind of converse to you. That's like more my strength, is to like step into a place and like try to blend in and support and stuff.
That's a hard thing to do though. Yeah. And you do so well. Right. Sorry. I mean, I could.
Thank you. But it sucks because like when I go to like lead in my own band, it's definitely a switch that's uncomfortable a bit for me to be like, okay, now I'm the one who's leading this, and like, I mean, it's kind of like if you're dancing it's much different to be like following than.
But does
is to
it?
leading.
Do you feel more pressure, or do you feel more fulfilled after one of yours, or is it just different?
Different. It's both.
It's
yeah.
all about
Okay.
the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just trying to rock and roll.
Trying to make good music. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And honestly, I think I knew the answer to that, but
Uh,
Good question.
No,
it's
it's a good
and
question.
honestly, I feel like Wes's songs are so gorgeous and amazing for the times right now,
yeah.
and I don't know, I'm enthralled with everything he does, and just like,
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
but
is like just
I'm-
being honored to play
Yeah.
with people, like whether or not it's in a support role or
yeah,
like the thing is that the show isn't about you and it's not even about them.
Right.
Like it's about the
It's
music
about the
and
people,
about
exactly.
the experience of everybody.
which
Yeah.
I feel, sorry, as a solo artist, I feel that too, but I feel it more as a support. I'm like, listen to his words.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm so used to people not listening or you know, there's always someone listening though. That's the best thing about playing music, is even in a bar full of people who are talking about what happened last Tuesday or whatever, someone will come up and say, "Oh, that original song, that line, whatever." That's what I do it for. And then I don't know, I find myself when I go to like Grant's concerts or musicians that I love, I just want people like, listen to what he's saying, it's gonna change your life.
It's like one thing for someone to say you sounded good, and another thing for someone to say I heard you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
find like something that's like easier to get across with poetry, but not so much music, is lyrics, where you're like, yes, like maybe my voice sounded good, and maybe the instrument sounded good, but these words also like held an inherent meaning. That's how I feel. And you're talking about like how good it feels like to play with other people. I don't have a lot of experience with like tandem poems, but the more I get into,
Is that a thing?
yes, and it's intense.
I feel like a duet poem.
Yeah, it's like when people
man,
are
that would be
performing the
freaking
same poem.
amazing.
People do it like 6 people at a time, and they're all
Whoa.
doing the same work. Lots of synchronized, and it's really intense. But sometimes it just feels good, like when you find an artist and you're like listening to what they're saying, you're like, I've got to come listen to you more. Recently become friends with Charlie Smiley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah.
And, his music is like, I'm like, Charlie, play the one with the twiddly bits. The one with the twiddly bits is Crooked Creek. But then it was an experience because we had gone camping and he took us to Crooked Creek. So what had inspired him to write this song, after listening to it and loving the song. And then I'm in the mountains with him, looking at what inspired this song, and it was like, it was an experience that I feel like you want with all the artists you like, but it's much easier to achieve in local art spaces. Because like Charlie is not only a fantastic artist I first knew because of activism, then knew for his music, and then knew him as a person. And to love his music and then be in where the music came from, like that's the good thing about being friends with creatives. Writing a poem and then having them, like, because you were saying you can interpret a song any type of way, but having an artist tell you like face to face what the song was about and what those inspirations were, that's like,
And what they're doing.
that's the best thing for me. Yeah.
Because then you can understand more of how it works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's easier to incorporate those type of concepts into your own art, and it's just good times to spend with people and good things to be talking about.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's what I love about. Sorry, I was gonna take a drink, but now I'm gonna stop. That's what I love about Billings in this community, is I think it's so important for all of us to, work together and support each other, because you learn so much from it and you grow from it, and not only does it help that artist, but it helps you as an artist and a performer, and it's just, I miss it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Billings is how many casual rock stars there are here. People
Rock stars?
Yeah, people, like, you hear them play or they do art, whether it be visual or physical or music or poetry, and they're so good at it. They've been doing it their entire lives, but it's not like the thing they want to be doing for a career. They're like, I like my job.
Yeah.
I'm a mechanic, and I also make these bomb-ass sculptures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like you don't get that a lot of places. Like, a lot of art spaces, people are there because not only are they doing art, but they need it to, like, pay their bills.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. You know, I'd like to get some money for the things I'm doing. That would be awesome. But it's also really good to be in the presence of people who you know the art's just for the art and no reason else.
They just love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Makes them feel good or whatever. Yeah.
Jana Richter once told to me, we were painting and I was like, I wish I could paint better. She told me the art's not the product, it's the doing. And I was like, that's the most pretentious thing I've ever heard. And I thought about it for a really, really long time, and that really opened up a lot of the types of ways I express myself now. It's the reason why I'm like working more into like singing and doing music, because I'm like, I don't need to have a SoundCloud. I enjoy doing this. So
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is kind of one of my favorite topics is like how in modern culture we've gotten like so specialized that like we tend to think that music is something for professionals to do.
Yeah.
That like if you're not excellent at it or you're not born to sing or some bullshit, then you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that seems like a shitty innovation that we've come up with to compartmentalize ourselves that way and decide like, I don't sing. I'm not a singer. I can't sing. Like I could never sing. But, like I teach music and I hear that all the time. And I'm like, fuck you. You can talk. You could probably sing. Like let's try it. But it is sad because like part of that is just to help people see that like it's not that special. Like anybody can do it. And like you don't even have to be an excellent musician to be good, which is weird.
Stop it.
Just
not
sing.
At all. Not at all.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's one of the reasons people pay $5 cover charges to go to karaoke and not $5 charges to see live performances.
And
What's
I should take back what I said about karaoke a little bit because I absolutely love going to karaoke and seeing that person who probably sings in their shower and they get up and sing karaoke and they're having the time of their lives.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's just this release, and I don't care if they're the worst singer in the place. That makes me happy.
For sure.
And people can do it for free.
Yeah.
But we go and we pay $5 for it. But on the other hand, like when you said it, I felt like how much time and money have you put into your craft?
Yeah.
You deserve
It's
more money than you got.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
so as much as it makes sense to pay $5 to go do karaoke, it makes even more sense to be like, oh, I wish I could be like these people who put so much time and work into these things and then not give them any money.
yeah.
But then it's like also
I mean,
like
that's
what you're
just the
saying,
life,
why
though.
does art and money have to be intrinsically connected?
Why?
Yeah, but because the answer is it doesn't. But
Yeah.
that's how we kind of operate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I feel bad for even bringing that story up a little bit, just because
In Oklahoma.
it's not all about because it's not all about the money for me. It's about that one person in the audience who comes up and says, "Hey, that song you sang about this, like I can't wait to share it with my daughter. She's going through this, and or it touched me in this way," and that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
But it
But
was
you've also
just
got
like
bills
when you're in
to
the
pay.
middle of a tour and you're eating pretzels.
Nice
for
to have a little
breakfast,
cheddar.
lunch, and dinner. Yeah, and they're like, you can't even have a beer here unless you pay for it.
That's
and it's gonna
horseshit.
be $8.
Exactly.
I'm used to like a Montana $2 PBR or something, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But I love it at the same time. I shouldn't be complaining, but it was just a funny story.
No, I mean, because we
I
don't.
don't want to sound like I'm
Completely-
complaining.
No, it was completely valid.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
you
don't
just-
hear you complaining about
yeah.
it.
It's good that like you can share your art and to tell those things to people.
Yeah.
But like that process to be in a bar in Oklahoma for someone to look at you and say, I'm going to share this with my daughter, required you money to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Right.
it's just the decency
Yeah.
that
It's like pay to play, like a little bit. Like if,
Oh, absolutely.
if you want this to happen, it's kind of nice to put a little energy juice in there
Yeah.
so that you can help.
But professional is just one thing. Like
Right.
Yeah.
casual is all the time.
Mm.
Like if people like singing, like you don't have to wait to karaoke to go do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even really have to think you're good. It's funny, like, one of my things with singing is, like, a lot of the time people think of it as something that's inborn. Like, you're born with golden vocal cords or something. Which I'm sure there's some stuff, like, genetic stuff at play, but, like, for the most part, it seems like a pretty human skill to be able to identify pitches and replicate them, and to, like, identify rhythms and replicate them. So you don't have to be born with it. Like, anybody that I know that's really good at singing has been just doing it for a long time, where they were raised in a household where they were told that they can sing, and then so they were encouraged to sing, and then what do you know, like, they got to be really good because they thought they could. Like,
my sister Monielle, she has a beautiful voice, like drop dead gorgeous, and it's always been really good, but that's just, it felt like something she was just born with. But who's the ginger guy who writes all the songs that people like? He's
Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran. He did this.
How did I come up with that? I'm the worst at that game.
You got it though. He released a clip.
I was gonna say Ty Herman.
Yeah, Ty Herman.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Ty. Damn it.
But he released a clip of a song that he had released on an album that, you know, he's got a beautiful voice, but it was from 10 years ago.
Oh
when he
yes, I
originally
heard this.
And
I
it
saw
was,
that.
he couldn't hold a tune.
oh,
Like whatsoever, his intonation was not good. And empirically, you know, if you're like looking at the logistics of it, it's not great.
No.
But you listen to him now, and he's like, I was not born with a golden voice, but I'm like, the purpose, like, I love to yes. Karen O, it doesn't have the greatest singing voice, but it lends itself. It's one of the reasons why I like punk so much.
yeah.
It's just like available to, if you can hold a decent tune, this music is available to you.
Use what you got.
Yeah, and I love that about like certain types of bands and everything,
Right.
where the entry point isn't
Yeah.
marked by all these standards.
Skills and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about, like, DIY music culture, is just this thing of like get up and try. Like, let's see what happens and work it. Like, we don't expect you to be a pro all, like, right away.
Yeah, I was jamming with Shane at Kirk's, and I was like, oh, I just want to have a little jam session. He was like, here's this guitar. I was like, I've never held an electric guitar. And he was like, here's this guitar. And I was like just dicking around with the pedals and everything, and I was like, wow, what an excellent time I'm having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's how you get bit by the bug.
Yep.
I feel like that's the whole thing about any of that, is like anyone can do it, and you just have to get bit by the bug so you do it enough to like really excel at it. Because like everyone I know who, you know, when you start playing guitar, you suck
Yeah.
so bad. Like I remember having to physically like place fingers
Yes.
to get a
Don't
chord
go.
shape. You know, it doesn't come naturally.
I still have to do that.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like
Oh shit! I had thought, but I think it went away.
You can accidentally get good at things as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel about. No specific examples, damn. But I know people who are like I would say earlier in my life, my singing voice was like pretty trash, you know. Just, you know, but I sing anyway, and singing's the thing I do for fun. And now, like, it's not like spectacular, but I'm like, wow, marked improvement without trying. Well, it wasn't without trying, it was just doing a thing for fun. That's how I feel about poetry too. Like, if you just do a thing, if you do it enough, eventually you just get better.
Do or do not. There is no try.
There's a little bit of trying.
A little Yoda. It's just Yodaism.
Only
I
six
like it.
deal in absolutes. So that's what I have to say about Yoda.
Was
My-
what?
Only six deal in absolutes.
Nice. That's great.
I don't like the Star Wars trilogy. That's like the one reference I know, so I'm hanging my hat on it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll take it. I think we should maybe wrap it up. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh
probably
wait,
about
I have a
time.
request from my father I have to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your journal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, my parents, when I was in the 5th grade, I wrote a poem called "How Does the Wind Blow," and we moved from Texas to North Carolina. And at some point, the poem got lost in the car. And I remember getting called downstairs. They were like, "Come down here right now," and I was like, "I'm in trouble." And they asked me, they were like, "Did you write this?" And I was like, "Yes." And they gave me a personalized journal and a pen. And they were like, "Don't ever stop doing this." And so my parents have been like super instrumental. So for Christmas and birthdays, I'm always getting like personalized journals and personalized pens. Times remembered. I guess my parents have racked up a lot of money with them. But that's that story that they wanted me to tell. It's really for me very sweet to get those on Christmas, and sometimes they ask about it, and of course like they got all my family and everything to watch this because they've always been supportive of that. They've been trying to get me to publish stuff. But I hate rejection, so.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you'll get rejected 1,000 times before.
I don't get rejected at Waste Division, so.
Yeah, exactly.
We accept it. That's for sure.
Sorry. I think that's really important though. Like, my family has been amazing and helpful and supportive 1,000%. But even, I know I bought a journal from my friend because she wrote something and I accidentally saw it, and I bought her this journal for her birthday. And she was like, cried and thought it was the best gift ever. And then, you know, so I just think it's important if you see something in someone to tell them.
You're
Exactly.
good at
Because
this.
No silent admirers. Hype everybody up.
that, I mean, and sometimes I'm really bad at it. But if I feel something from someone, I always make sure that I tell them.
Yeah.
Because it's really important.
Especially when you know they're putting effort into it. To be like, it's just so good to be seen. Like, to not have told something about yourself to another person that they reacted on. I like can't imagine like how your friend felt, because it's similar to how I felt. Being like, this is just a thing I did privately and someone saw it and they support me. It's the makings of good art. Yeah, that support system.
Cool.
Struggle art, we don't need to do that anymore. There's always this concept that you've got to be struggling to be an artist. And we gotta let that die.
Yeah. I think we all struggle enough anyway, probably.
I think it's a struggle in general, and then if you're an artist, maybe
Life's hard.
you look a little rougher, so they think, you know.
Yeah.
I try to shower sometimes.
Well, we think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Siesa Shuman and Jessica Eve.
It's so nice to meet you.
Y'all are
Thank
awesome.
you guys. So nice to meet you. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been amazing.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. So I guess, should I say anything?
Yeah, let's talk about Jessica Eve. Find her new album, Next Train Home, on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you can find it.
Yep.
CD Baby. You can buy the actual album.
Yeah.
Oh.
Forget about that.
The plastic shit.
Go to cdbaby.com.
Yeah, I love that.
I do
stuff.
too.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. No, I don't say that.
Or you can come to a show and I'll sell you one.
Sometime when shows are happening.
Yeah, they're happening sporadically.
Little dinner things and stuff. Are you playing?
Yeah.
Where are you playing?
I'm playing with Wes and the Wes Urbaniak and Mountain Folk at the 406 on Wednesday.
Cool.
And then I have a wedding. But I mean, I played in Emigrant at the Old Saloon, the Garage a couple times.
Oh yeah.
There's more, but
Cool.
it's happening again. But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how if it's gonna continue or
Yeah.
it's all up in the air.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go buy an album from Jessica for
Yeah.
sure. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your place? The SE.
Oh,
Instagram.
okay. So I've got two. The official poetry one I don't really post to. That's SEESA.SPEAKS. Beautiful. I like that one. And then I've also one that I like casually. My Instagram captions will be poems that I think about on the regular, and that is Esoterica because I'm fucking clever.
Yeah.
That's ESOTERCKA.
Oh.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
All right.
Cheerio.
Yeah.
again. Thanks everybody.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. All right.
Cool.
Beautiful.
I knew without saying anything.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I don't even know what to. I wanted to ask you.